welcome you all to this new batch of advanced postgraduate program in drug regulatory affairs, IPR and patents. Now, this program is has been customized to cater to the learning needs of the people who are either going to work in the industry soon in the next few months or already working in some other domain but would like to work in this industry. And we, by design, the program has been planned for the evenings due to the demand, due to the constant, feedback from the students that they would like to see, learn the program during evening hours instead of spending time over the weekend. Um, this program is very specialized program and very unique in a sense that it covers, the program has been designed to cater to the needs of the global pharmaceutical industry. The global pharmaceutical industry, as you may be aware, has got a lot of challenges. You have different markets, you have several regulations, although you have ICH now harmonization guidelines, but you still have the several countries, regulations. How do we address the needs of the regulators? What kind of information they require, how do we prepare the dossiers, how do we prepare the common technical documents, how do we do the submissions, how we prepare the CMCs. So a lot of information is needed, a lot of scientific analysis of the information needed. So this program will address all the needs of the global pharmaceutical industry. So once your program is complete, you will be in a position to work in any pharmaceutical company, in any regulatory department with this knowledge. The Cliniminds, as you are aware by now, was established in the year 2004. We have already about 12,000 plus alumni working globally in over 25 countries and working in several organizations in India and several other countries. Our programs are all certified by the Life Sciences Sector Skill Development Council, which is the part of the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, Government of India. We also have the ECRI USA accreditation, and there's a great news I want to share today. Cliniminds is going through another major international accreditation as we speak, and hope to, in the next 2 to 3 months, once our audits of the accreditation audits are over, our program will be globally again acceptable with a lot of new features of the global accreditation. So hopefully in the next 2 to 3 months, we should be able to share that information, but we are going through the accreditation process, so we can't disclose much because it's a lot of confidential process going on. After your course is completed, we have very active placement support program where you will be prepared for CV writing, interview preparation, and before your actual interviews in the companies are organized by us, arranged by us, you will get a lot of support in terms of the placement and preparing you for the interviews. So this is a very important area. Can you, Priya, can you confirm which slide you're seeing right now, global and Indian pharmaceutical industry?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. So the industry where you are getting into is large industry. It's a large global industry with more or less, recession-proof industry. You may be witnessing some challenges right now for India in terms of the export market to US due to the tariffs, the extra tariffs which have been the US is now charging up to 50%. But I think more or less the situation will change in the coming months, and I think there's a lot of lobbying happening as we speak, and this should not make a lot of impact in the long run. India has seen a lot of challenges over the years, but this is very small challenge in comparison to what we have seen in the past. So India will sail through this, and this is not a huge impact. The American sort of tariffs will not be a huge thing, but it's a politically very sensitive topic, and at this stage, the less we speak is better, because things are changing very fast. In the next few months, we should be able to see the situation. The global market at present is about $1.7 trillion dollars and growing rapidly. And by 2034, this market would be over $3 trillion market. So 3,000 billion dollars, and that would be about $3 trillion industry. And India is growing very fast. India is already in double-digit market, and situation like these will not impact much of the Indian market, because India today is exporting the drugs to almost 130 countries. So, a lot of large opportunities for India globally. And at present, the Indian domestic market is about $23.5 billion, and the Indian export market is about 26.5. And by 2030, India will exceed about $130 billion. India is growing market. India is also very attractive destination for production. So if you see today, most global companies have very strong presence in India. So India has got excellent export manufacturing base. We are a great export base for large number of not only the domestic Indian big pharma, but also large number of the global top 10 global pharmaceutical companies. The worldwide have very strong presence in India. Low cost, we are ourselves at a very diverse market for the life saving and both the lifestyle uh, diseases, drugs. Uh, India is a great place now for the conducting the R&D. So that makes India a very attractive destination for the global pharmaceutical companies. India has gone through for the last about 20 years, if you see the journey, in these 20 years, India has gone through the major regulatory changes for the R&D. So today, the timelines are predictable. If you want to conduct clinical trial in India, the process is streamlined. The timelines are very predictable. So regulations have changed a lot in the last about 2 decades for good. So hence, large number of companies have invested in India and will continue to do that in the coming years. Large number of Indian companies have gone overseas. So if you see the companies like Indian companies like Dr. Reddy's or Glenmark, Sun Pharma, Cipla, Wockhardt, large number of these companies have gone overseas and have established very strong presence in several countries. So, and that will continue to happen in the coming years. And surprisingly, one figure, India has the maximum number of the FDA approved plants outside USA. So it's the second largest FDA approved market actually, where the highest number of plants, second highest number of plants, FDA approved plants are there. So these are some of the more statistical, and you will get this presentation in your LMS in the next few days. These are the top companies, top 10 global pharmaceutical companies with their revenue of 2024 and number of employees they have. And all these companies have very strong presence in India, and it will continue to grow in the coming years. These are the top 10 Indian pharmaceutical companies who have done extremely well globally, and they will continue to grow in the coming years. The regulatory services market is, so there are two ways this handled. One, number of companies have got their in-house departments where pharmaceutical company will employ people in-house and handle the regulatory needs for the entire organization. But there's a huge business emerging now, and where the pharmaceutical companies are now outsourcing the entire regulatory affairs. So company may have a very in-house small team, but then they will outsource these things to the large companies, big consulting, regulatory consulting firms, IT, life sciences, IT consulting firms. They carry out these activities, and that business is now growing substantially. If in the year 2024, this was about $9.4 billion outsourcing, and by 2030, we would be about 14.34. In the same way, medical device industry regulatory affairs are also growing at a very rapid pace. So both pharma and medical device uh, together, it's huge opportunity, and it will continue to grow. And when you see these numbers, relate these numbers with the opportunities, relate these numbers with the employment, increase in the employment, relate these numbers with the business opportunities. So maybe not today, but few years down the line, when you acquire experience, you can set up your own regulatory consulting firm and offer these services to the pharmaceutical companies or medical device companies worldwide. So it's a huge opportunities, and India is the major beneficiary of these uh, regulatory outsourcing market. So we are close to by 2030 we will be 10% plus, or maybe a little more, as things are progressing very fast. India is very important regulatory outsourcing market. A lot of new trends are emerging. The in the regulatory outsourcing, the regulatory writing and publishing work is a lot of work is now coming to India. Over 36% of the global work is now actually happening in India. So there are a whole gamut of outsourcing services is on rise, and there are new areas emerging. So it's not so earlier there were traditional drugs, therapeutic groups where outsourcing was happening, but now there are the new areas in the last few years have emerged, and this will have major growth in the coming years for the countries like India. Biologics, biosimilars, CGDP categories of products, cell and gene therapies products, all these areas are going to grow substantially in the coming years. So prepare yourself well for this. So these are the outsourcing companies where a lot of work is outsourced by the pharmaceutical company. So pharmaceutical companies outsource their regulatory work to these kind of companies. So these are some of the important names. But then there are a lot of small to mid-sized companies. These are the large players. But then there are hundreds of small to medium-sized companies which cater to small to mid-sized pharma globally, because regulatory is a very specialized area. So companies would like to keep their focus on their core competence of R&D, new drug development, developing drugs, marketing drugs. But regulatory is a very specialized area, and large number of companies today are outsourcing the regulatory to these specialized companies now. So employment trends are on the positive side. We are going to witness surge in the next few years. You will see that every year 2 to 3,000, 4,000 new, fresh entry-level people are required. Trained entry-level workforce is required, and this number is anywhere between, on the basis of our discussion with the industry, the estimates are between 2 to 4,000 numbers every year. And here, you're not talking of the lower end of skill sets. Because in the IT industry, when you see there are thousands of people, hiring happens. But here, when you talk about 2 to 3,000 people, you're talking about very high-end skill set. People who can handle the regulatory issues for the pharmaceutical companies. So there's a very good positive trend for the employment in the next few years. Some of the trends in the last few years have emerged is the emergence of these global capability centers. These are all top big pharmaceutical companies globally are establishing big centers in India. So if you see the Hyderabad, Bangalore, Mumbai, Delhi, these are some of the big centers where big pharmaceutical companies are developing wide range of uh, outsourcing or building capability centers to not to cater to the Indian market alone, but they cater to their worldwide offices. So let's take an example. Sanofi, which is the top 10 pharmaceutical companies, have established the GCC in India in Hyderabad. Now, this GCC is not just handling the work for India office, and they handle the work for France office of the Sanofi. They handle the Latin American region work in India. So what they do within Sanofi from various countries, they carry out the activities in India for the various parts of Sanofi worldwide. So these kind of global capability centers are on increase. And in the next 2 to 3, 4 years, when you develop your capabilities and you're able to handle the regulatory work, for the people like you, a lot of opportunities are going to come in these GCCs. So with this, medical device, last but not least, is another big area in the regulatory. So not only the pharmaceutical companies, but medical device companies also require people from the regulatory domain. Because again, medical device is going through a lot of regulatory changes. For example, the biggest change which took in the medical device regulations is the EU MDR, European Union Medical Device Regulation in 2017. Now, all these changes which are taking place due to the EU MDR are having implications on the medical device companies worldwide, which means if you have to bring now devices or the drug device combination to EU, you need to follow a lot of changes which have taken place. And these are all very complex changes, time consuming, highly cost intensive changes, and require very highly skilled medical device regulatory workforce. And part of the program, you will be going through the medical device regulations as well. With this, just to some housekeeping points, you will all have access to these LMS. You will receive LMS access. Some of you have completed admission process. You all have LMS access. All the content will be uploaded on the LMS. Your presentations, notes, audio, video recordings of every session will be available on LMS. There will be some midterm exams